is a respected business broker, helping individuals buy and sell businesses. Joe has successfully owned and operated many companies in a variety of industries. This is LocalBiz Now, because your business matters.
And this is LocalBiz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. You are listening to the #1 talk business show in all of North Carolina. Let me prove it to you. This is News Talk WSIC, 105.9 FM, 107 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is LocalBiz Now. We've been doing this going on 10 years strong. We have interviewed well over 800, let me say that again, over 800 small business owners and community leaders. We have well over 400 videos on my brand new sexy YouTube channel, which, by the way, we are now up to like 83 subscribers.
We're going the right direction.
We're shooting for 100. We're working for 100. Thank you for all of you. Last week we had a big push from about 60 to 80 something last week. Chuck helped me with that.
Yep.
So we appreciate Chuck Gallagher for doing that. We are live on the book, so if you'd like to participate and ask us a question, we are more than happy to try and get you involved in this. If it is Friday morning, your business matters. It's our intention to inspire, inform, and entertain you, and today will be no exception. I have my friend, whether he wants to admit it or not, Ben McDonald. He is the founder and managing partner. My friend, thank you so much for Destination Wealth Advisor. Thank you for being here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Although, when the week I'm gone, you jump up 20 subscribers, I don't know if we're going to be friends or if I'm going to get invited back. Right? There's a correlation of it's negative when I'm here and positive when I'm not.
Well,
this may be my last day.
We started last week by me begging for people
Okay, all right.
So Chuck was telling me you got to ask. Right?
I'll see what I can do.
Anyways, Ben, thank you so much for being here, buddy. I really do appreciate it. There's a reason why we choose the co-hosts that we do. It's because we're looking for people that are the real deal, know what they're doing, and when they say something, we believe it, and Ben McDonald fits that bill well. Ben, remind everybody what Destination Wealth Advisors actually is.
Yep. So we're a wealth management firm, and what that means is we do comprehensive investment planning. So we'll manage people's portfolios, we'll do financial plans, we'll do tax strategizing, we'll do estate planning, we do insurance or protection. We want to have experts on your team in each gambit of your financial situation.
And so for me, as a small business broker, my background, my experience is small business people. Yeah. And so your association with small business people is just pristine. I mean, when they come to you with these problems, these challenges that you're looking, or they're looking to have solved, right? And you don't say, I got the answer. You say, I got the resources to answer those questions.
Yeah. Well, in my old life, when I was an advisor at Edward Jones, I was the guy wearing all the hats, and I had to be the person that had the answer for everything. And you can't do that, right? Every single aspect gets watered down. So when I was designing this firm, I wanted to go the opposite. I wanted the advisors and planners in the company to be able to pull the experts in so the clients are always working with the person they need to be talking to.
And so how did you come up with this? Because honestly, it wasn't until I met you that it's sort of like a bell rang, like, that's a good idea. Why didn't somebody?
What a novel concept.
Yeah. You actually want to help my clients.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with my coaching background of coaching college and high school basketball. Just understanding how different people are fitting into different teams and how you can empower people and provide a better experience when everybody's working together. And so I will get away a couple times a year, go into the mountains completely by myself and do planning sessions where I'll just read and write and be by myself. And this design of what this looks like came from one of those sessions a couple years ago.
So you just described the one thing that makes you unique and endearing to me. You are this strategic-minded, thoughtful, sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional business thinker, right? Like I watch you think and plan ahead and then intentionally put that into action, right? I've seen that with you over the years, right? Yep. Where did that come from? You mentioned coaching. Is that what it is?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's happened for most of my life. I remember being 13, 14 years old, and I would have an exact plan of what things were going to look like going down the road. And so part of it's innate, and then a lot of it is just at bats, right? You get reps over and over, and you get better at being more intentional and being strategic. And so I get people a lot of times now, because of how quickly we've grown, where they'll say, did you imagine it was ever going to be like this? And I've got it written down in notebooks that this was going to happen. And that part is really interesting to see. Whereas if I didn't have all these reps and at bats from over the years, I don't think that would happen, right? It wouldn't all come to fruition.
Right.
So
And so I happen to know some of your partners and advisors and accountants and other resources that you have.
Yep.
Bringing those kind of, what's the word I want to use? Heavy hitters, if I can do that, right?
Yeah.
Together. That's not easy. Talk about that, right? Because we all kind of want to, everybody wants to be Joe. You understand that, don't you, Ben, right? Not everybody can be Joe, Ben. You understand that?
So
I make this look easy.
So as we were, a few months ago, we brought a Merrill Lynch team on that basically doubled our size of our business. And as we were going through meetings of trying to figure this out, right, going through negotiations and conversations of what it would look like, Adam Boatsman, who's the managing partner of BGW CPA, we're partners and work together on clients. He stopped everybody mid-conversation, said, if we can do the rest of this conversation by throwing away our egos and understanding that we can all win better together, we're going to be successful. And that was a big flip of the switch. And so now, as we go, there's still headaches that come up, but everybody knows their roles and responsibilities. People are coming to me, and my job is to take problems off of people's shoulders and plates so they can do what they're supposed to do. And that's just been the way that it's worked, is we put the ego aside. We know we're all going to do better together than we would separately. And so when situations come up, it's candid communication. It's us being able to respect each other and have a conversation and work through things without something blowing up or somebody's ego getting too big and so they can't listen to anybody else.
I'm curious, how do you do that? Is it a weekly conversation, monthly? What does that look like? For those of us that want specifics?
Yeah, so we use the EOS system, the Entrepreneur Organizational System, I think it's called, or structure. But essentially, we have different meeting cadences. So we have an all-hands meeting once a month, and that is every employee in the company. So everybody knows at least what's going on. They can weigh in, and they can feel heard, right? And a lot of times that doesn't happen because so the leaders, and then they're just telling everybody else what to do. So we do a monthly cadence of that. We do a monthly cadence of a leadership meeting where we just go off-site for a few hours and go through anything that needs to happen. And then the week by week are one-on-ones that I'm having with different key employees.
And that really has value because if I'm using you, right, I'm your client, I know that if one of your other skilled people has an idea or concept or investment, you're going to know about it just as well.
You got it. Yep, exactly. Because if one person is doing something, we want to be able to support each other so everybody can be giving the ideal experience to our clients.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's dig in. You can't be a co-host without bringing some good quality information.
I've got an article.
Okay, let's do it. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. If it's Friday morning, I'm sipping on a cup of black powder coffee because it's delicious. We'll be right back. Are we going to be right back? Or
Yeah.
I didn't hear any music. I don't know if you got rid of me or not. listening.
We're back from this break.
Ben, we are live. We are live, Ben.
Man.
And Justin, the new owner, is back there laughing at me. You understand?
Yep.
They're having fun with this, Ben. All right, we're gonna do this whether they like it or not. We're gonna do it well, Ben.
All right.
You ready?
Yep. Despite what they're throwing at us.
And we are back. You are listening to the #1 talk radio show in all of North Carolina. This is News Talk WSIC, and this is Local Biz Now. If it's Friday morning, say it, Ben. Say it. Say it.
Your business matters.
Yeah. Let's get started with this. Let's go straight to your article.
Yep.
Okay, let's do that. So what is it you want to talk about, buddy?
Yeah, so the article is called "What Would Be the 10-Star Experience and Beyond." But this
10-star, not 5-star.
That's right.
10-star. Okay.
But if you just look up Airbnb 10-star experience, 11-star experience, things like that, it will pop up. It's gotten more and more popular. I first heard it on the Masters of Scale podcast, which is Reid Hoffman. He's the co-founder of LinkedIn. When he had Brian Chesky on, who's the CEO and co-founder of Airbnb.
Right.
And the thing that I wanted to really share about this that I think is extremely valuable to the business owners and leaders listening is this is a thought topic or thought process that you can do in the company with your other leaders.
Right.
And so what they did in Airbnb, as they were trying to design what an ideal experience would look like was, all right, you get 1 through 5 stars. That's what they can rate us online.
Interesting.
Right? A 1-star experience is you show up and you try and get in and everything's locked and you have no access or somebody else is already in there, right? It's just a terrible experience. 4 or 5-star experiences, you get what you expect, right? You show up, they let you in, there's towels, there's just like basic things. It's just, you're not going to brag about it.
The pictures are what I thought it would be. Right.
Yep. And that's a 4 or 5-star experience and that's great. And they're like, okay, well, what would a 6 or 7-star experience be? Okay, maybe there's a surfboard in there with a note saying, "Hey, I know you like to surf. Enjoy your time here." Or there's food packed in the fridge already that says it's on us. Whatever. It's just something up and beyond. And then they kept going. They're like, all right, what would a 10-star experience be? And it would be Brian Chesky calls it the Beatles entrance. And so it's like, all right, we're gonna pick you up with a private jet. We're gonna fly you there. You're gonna get off the jet, and there's gonna be bands playing, and there's gonna be a parade that takes you to your Airbnb.
Right. Hooray! Joe is here to stay in my house. Right.
Just an absolute obnoxious experience. And they're like, an 11-star experience is Elon Musk picks you up and takes you to outer space in a rocket ship. Right? Like, eventually,
we thought for lunch we'd eat in space.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what they found was when you go to the 9, 10, 11-star experience and start describing so outrageous experiences, when you go back to 7 or 8, they don't seem impossible. You can make those things happen, even though normally you would just think a 1 through 5 scale.
That's interesting.
So that's the part is we put ourselves in our own boxes, right? It's like, okay, what's a 1-star experience? What's a 5-star experience? And we stop there. And so those are our limitations. And if you stretch yourself and you get so far outside of the box, you're just stretching what's actually possible with the experience for your clients and customers. So
interesting.
So I love that process, and it's difficult for people to do because you're so entrenched in the same mindset, same thought process, the echo chamber of your industry, right? All of those things over and over and over that you have to get so far away. So that's the thing I really like about it. My sister and brother-in-law that run the Savannah Bananas, they do something similar. They do an Ideapalooza where all of their employees, not all now because they're too big, but most of their employees get in a room and they start throwing out ideas up on the whiteboard of what they could do during a baseball game. And whenever somebody mentions something that is just an average, normal, boring thing, they'll have like Nerf balls or something and just throw it at them. And they create an environment that's so outrageous that it makes people think differently. And I don't think that happens nearly enough in small businesses.
And most of the time, what I see, Ben, people are afraid to speak because they're afraid to fail. Yeah. They're afraid to come up with that bad idea. Mm-hmm. They're afraid what other people think.
That's a great point. And I think that's on the leader, right? If the leaders are creating the culture where the employees are afraid to fail, the company is going to fail, right? I want my employees to fail. I want them to be trying so hard to create such a good experience that they're going to throw out an idea that is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We're going to learn from it. We're going to get better. And eventually, we're just going to keep improving the experience to the point where it doesn't look anything like our competitors.
Well, and this reminded me of years ago when I was teaching Julie, and she would make a mistake and something like that. She'd be really upset because she's a perfectionist. She wants to be absolute. Let me be clear. Everybody needs a Julie, right? Mm-hmm. So I would finally get to the point where I'd say, whoa. Just say oops and move on.
Yes.
It's over with.
Yes.
I don't think twice about it. And what you're really trying to do is empower them to take responsibility and control of tricky, problematic situations. And so if they're so afraid to fail or make a mistake, or you're going to beat them over the head if they make that mistake, there's no way they're stepping outside.
Nope. No, not at all. And that... I see it a lot when I'm working with small businesses, especially, that I think everybody is too close, right, to the point where it's a small team. So if somebody fails, it becomes very obvious that, hey, this person made the mistake. And that's the part that anybody listening that's a business owner, small business leader, needs to make sure they're working on to change. So that would be the big thing I'd take away.
Now, if Joe can do it, I don't know that he can do it, but I'm thinking we'll take a break. No break? Joe.
Joe's like, let's not do this again.
Okay.
We may not have a break the rest of the show.
We're not going to take a break. We're going to go straight to our special guest. And I got to tell you something. I interviewed this gentleman a while ago. I have read every single book he has written. He is a phenomenal small business writer and speaker. It's such a thrill to have him on the show. And I thought about, why am I so excited to have him on the show? And here's what I came up with, right? And so there's two things that make this gentleman so unique, and is such a treat for me to have on the show. His unique approach to business. It is such a fresh, unconventional perspective on entrepreneurship. One of the books that he wrote is just absolutely phenomenal. It's sort of this, you have to read his book, Profit First.
Okay, I was wondering what you were going to get to, because he's got a few that I think are must-reads. So I was curious which one you're talking about.
I want you to set up all his books over there for him. The second thing is, before I introduce him...
I'll slowly start throwing them all up here.
That's right.
I could absolutely
Personal experiences. This is an authentic guy. He is who he says he is. He does what he says he's going to do. He knows it. He is the real deal for small business. I am so excited to have Mike Michaelwitz on the show. Mike, can you hear me, my friend?
Good to see you.
Hang on 1 second. I got you sounding like an echo. We got it? No. Hang on a minute, Mike. We got an echo going here. Talk to me, Joe. Let's try it again, Mike. Let's try it again, Mike. No, I'm sorry. We need to take a break, and let's see if we can't get this Zoom fixed on this, Joe. We need to, Mike said, Joe said, no, we can't take a break.
Well, got to get it figured out, Joe. Yeah, go grab someone and see what we can do.
That's right. Mike, hang on. We're getting this big echo back and forth, buddy. Hang on for just 1 second. Let me just tell you this. I want you to tell the viewers how you know Mike Michaelwitz, because I bet you he's going to say he don't know you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the 1 degree of separation. And I was just talking about Emily and Jesse Cole, right? My sister and brother-in-law. Well, they're in 3 or 4 at least of Mike's books, and Mike's
I think every
down
book.
There. Yeah,
I think every book.
Yeah, maybe. So they're pretty close. So Jesse and I will get together a lot when he's back up here, and we'll grab a beer and we'll talk through business problems and questions. And Mike is a common trend and theme that his approach and the things that he does with business we're bringing up constantly, because I'm reading his books. Jesse's having the conversations. Mike, I've listened to you on a couple of different podcasts. So it's just, it's the 1 degree of separation that I know Mike without knowing Mike. It's the only part that's really interesting here.
Okay, well, I've already interviewed him once, so he's like my friend, right? He's like my best friend now. You got that, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm getting a note here. Hey, Mike, can you do me a favor? Can you give us a call on your phone? 704-873-1400. Give us a call because their audio is fine. The audio is bad, but the video is fine. So we're working on that right now, Mike, as we go through that. And so I'll pull up, set up all his books over there because I want everybody listening to know that literally these books are just absolutely exceptional. And over the years, I have read every single one of them.
I think Pumpkin Plan was the first one that I read of his. I'm pretty sure. Profit First is the one I've read the most, for sure.
Okay.
I'm getting surrounded by books.
Yeah, that's right. You understand, Ben, this only happens when the interview is important to me. You get that, don't you, right?
Right.
This happens to me every time I got an important big shot. Then all of a sudden we start having technical trouble. They do this to me on purpose. It happened with Senator Tillis. We hung up on him 3 or 4 times. Oh, yeah. Listen, LocalBiz now is absolutely used to hanging up on big shots.
Great.
And disappointing our interviewer. And in this case, it looks like it's going to be Mike that we disappoint as well. So, is he on the phone? Hey, Mike, can you now hear us, buddy?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now, buddy.
Miracle! We worked it.
We got it. Mike Mikowitz is on the phone with us and live on video, so you can see him live on Facebook. Mike, thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate you doing this. I'd love to apologize and say this kind of stuff never happens, but it happens often for us.
Yeah, well, the Zoom stock just tanked because we can't do Zoom audio.
Right, that's right. That's the pull you have, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Mike, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. I think you can tell all of the notes I've made on your book. Matter of fact, I can show you every single one of your books that I've made notes on. There's something about the way you write that is so specific and detailed that you're handing us small business people, real solid advice. Yep. Talk a little bit about how you write because it is unique.
Yeah, it's definitely a different style, and I really appreciate that. The way I write is rooted in the fact that every book I've written, admittedly, is a challenge I have or have had in my own businesses, and I wish I was walked through the steps. I believe, dollar for dollar, there is no more valuable asset than a book. You can go through coaching, you go through these great programs, but dollar for dollar, a book has the download of someone's knowledge already sequenced for you. And it's my responsibility as an author to make it practical and doable. And so one of the tests we do is I own a few businesses. As I'm writing a book, I'll give that book or the manuscript to the business and say, do this. And they become the guinea pig.
So,
and if it doesn't work,
Mike, let's take a break and we'll come back and we're going to pick this back up again. We'll try to get back on track. We're talking to Mike Mikowitz. He is absolutely number one small business author that I have read. Thank you so much, Mike, for being here. Let's take a break. If it's Friday morning, say it, Ben. Say it.
Your business matters.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Yeah, so we had the 30-minute break, Mike, but we'll just dive right back in once it comes back.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion. We had
okay, so when you said it was a floating break, it wasn't a floating break.
So I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. It was more of the audio issue.
It out there.
The first one and the third
What's
one
that?
Floating.
What'd you say?
You guys are sweating it out.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry.
Oh, Mike, I'm sorry. You have no idea what I'm going through here, buddy. Okay.
Cases where a person went missing or was identified on federal land.
Mike, I've got pages of stuff. I got all this stuff I want to talk to you about, and time is just burning away, buddy. So we're going to try and get back on track on this thing if we can.
Also, this weekend,
I've been doing this show for 10 years, and this only happens when it's somebody I really want to talk with. You understand that, don't you? So take this as a compliment, all right?
Live is live, you know?
Oh, for Zoom?
Hey, while we're on break, let's test the audio for Zoom. I think I've got the audio fixed now on the Zoom. So if we want to try the headphones again.
So, yeah, Mike, let's try the audio Zoom, see if we got that.
We'll discuss state and local politics.
I'm on Zoom. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
That's better.
Okay, I'm going to drop the phone.
Drop the phone.
Phone's dropped.
There you go. We're gonna figure this out.
Man, this second half of the show is going to be amazing.
There you go. Okay.
Amazing.
To spend $1,900 to fix it. Jeff, a customer, wrote, "My air conditioner broke and I got a new one at no out-of-pocket cost."
So, Mike, the only hard break we've got is at the very end of the show.
I had to spend $3,000 to
And what time is that?
That is exactly 8:59.
I got it fixed at no out-of-pocket cost.
Okay, great. And I'll drop it into at 9 o'clock. That's perfect.
That's right. 8:59:50 is officially when the hard break comes. Other than that, I'm in complete control, if you believe that, Mike.
Nice job. Nice job.
800-610-2650. 800-610-2650.
Okay, so how much time we got for the break?
800-610-2650. That's
1 more minute.
800-610-2650.
Hey, this is Daniel from NC Auto Repair. Summer is fast approaching, so stop by and see us.
Mike, I appreciate you doing this, my friend. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And it's great to finally meet you.
Sorry, the call's off too. We likewise. Likewise. I'm sorry we're up to a rocky start on the call.
Your current health with
Nah, we're fine.
Well, we got to blame somebody, so once you hang up, we're going to blame it on you.
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I would too.
Hey,
and I'll point the finger somewhere in my office.
This is a progressive.
Hey, man, I was really expecting the book tree to be behind you, man. What'd you do? Move into a new office?
Yeah, this is my home office. I'm just moving in, so it's a mess. But this is the home office.
Hello, everyone. This is Joshua Dobie from North Main Financial Group.
So,
we're blessed at North Main Financial Group that most of our clients come to us.
So I don't know if you can tell or not, but we took a photo of all of your books. I'm going to drop it on Facebook, and I'm going to drop it on LinkedIn.
We're looking at their financial plan and seeing if it aligns with their goals.
Julie's going to take your link for a free book, which remind me, I want to say something about that, and drop that on Facebook as well.
At northmainfinancial.com.
Yeah, and I think we're giving, I think the bank is giving away 10 free books, right?
Yes.
Relay Bank, is that?
For kids with special needs. Get started in the sport by signing up for a competitive swim team. Enjoy the season swimming at the Statesville Family YMCA, 828 Wesley Avenue.
Austin, do me a favor, turn that AC as low as you can. I'm burning up here. I'm sweating. I'm in the pain.
Yeah, it's up to 76.
Nature of
when our
training.
When our forehead starts shining.
It's shining. My forehead is shining.
I know it's really you, Gray. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Are you following us on social media? Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WSIC News.
But I'm really good at this.
All right.
And we are back. You are listening to the #1 talk business show in all of North Carolina. Let me prove it to you. This is News Talk WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone. This is Local Biz Now, and we hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you for the entire hour. If it is Friday morning, your business matters. And if it's Friday morning, we are interviewing people that inspire, inform, and entertain me. And today is no exception because Mike Michaelwitz is who we've got on the Zoom live. So if you go to the book, you can see him live and also live on the air. And Mike Michaelwitz, thank you so much, sir. We really do appreciate you getting up early in the morning to talk with us, buddy.
Oh, it's a joy to be with you guys. So thanks for having me, Joe.
So we have him on live Zoom. We've got the audio and video working well for us. So here's what I want to do. You know, we had a little snafu at the beginning of the show. I had this whole list of things I wanted to ask you, right? So I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. But here's the one question that I wanted to ask you: who is Mike Mikowicz, right? Because when I first read, I think the first book that I read of yours was Profit First. I kind of wanted to know, who is this dude, right? Like, why am I listening to him? Why is he connecting with me through these books? Tell me, you don't have to go back to 1963, but kind of give me a little bit about who Mike is.
Well, we'll start with 1971 instead. I'm an entrepreneur, and I've grown some businesses with some success and sold some. I was in the tech space and so forth, and I've had cataclysmic failure. I had one business that was just a total atrocity. But what was interesting is throughout that journey, even the good businesses I sold, I realized I wasn't running properly. Well, I had my wake-up call of the century. So this date is important. It was 2008, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. My business atrocity had collapsed. I was an angel investor. I had no idea what I was doing. I called myself the angel of death, honestly. I was so bad at it. I lost everything, and we were on the verge of losing our house, which we did. And I had to face my family and say it was all gone. My daughter, she was 9 years old at the time, grabbed her piggy bank and she ran down the steps and she gave it to me. She said, "Daddy, I'll start supporting our family because you can't do it anymore." And I still get emotional about that. It was a wake-up call I needed. I was ashamed. And that point forward, well, it wasn't like that point forward I started becoming an author. That was the turning point. It was years later in reflection that was the seed. I actually went through depression for 2 years, started drinking really hard, not doing good things. But then I started coming out of that and decided I'm going to devote myself to fixing everything I don't know about entrepreneurship for myself and anyone that is willing to listen. So that's who I am, and that's why I write about entrepreneurship and why I'm so passionate about it.
And it is the genuine nature of the way that you write, because let me tell you something. You do not become self-employed entrepreneur without making mistakes, right? Anybody that says they haven't made a mistake, that's just not genuine, right? And so I think that's why your books are so endearing to me, because you tell me when it works, you tell me when it doesn't work.
Yeah, there's a saying, you learn through the burn. There's truth, but I'll tell you, I don't like being burned, and I don't wish that upon anybody. So if we can learn through other people's experience and deploy in our business, I think that's the better path. And so that's what I try to do with my books, to be of service to others. And one of the privileges as an author, I get to interview tons of business owners, including Jesse Cole, who you were mentioning earlier, and learn from their mistakes and hopefully have a easier, better path for myself.
Yeah, it's been the biggest thing with running a podcast for years. I get to have direct access to other people that are doing things correctly and made the mistakes and have learned from it. And so just like, Mike, what you were saying through your writing process, when you get access to those people, it's a cheat code, right? You get to take some of that and apply it to your own life.
And, it's
it totally is.
Yeah, go right ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to first say, Joe, with the books in front of you, that is the sexiest photograph ever. Yeah. So make sure you get a picture of that. The books around you. Learning from other people's mistakes is the cheat code or shortcut to success. The reality is we still have to experience some of the burn. Sometimes the only way to learn is through pain. So what I try to teach in the books is, here's methods to try, but some of them I don't guarantee. Like even with Profit First, while it's been very successful for most businesses, I don't guarantee it. And I anticipate that some people will try it out and it'll hurt or something won't work. But I think it also gives them the freedom to understand there's going to be pain. Just one little asterisk on this. There's a popular book by Dan and Chip Heath called Decisive. In the book, they talk about the necessity for emotional inoculations where you take a little crippled version of a virus so you don't get the big version. Well, with teaching business methods, if people experience a little bit of the pain on their own, then they'll more likely to avoid the big pain in the future because they've been inoculated through that. That's why I try to teach the books is, here's the pain that may happen, so just be prepared for it. So they're much more protected if it does happen.
Yeah, but Mike, what you also do is you give me this roadmap, this detail. I'm a bullet point kind of guy, right? And so you give me these bullet points. Okay, here's the problem I want you to be careful of, and now here's the 4 things I want you to do, right? And so that's what I like about your writing. There's something you talk about in most of your books and your speeches, which is an entrepreneurial poverty. Now, most people that I know think if you're self-employed, oh wow, you're just raking in the money, right? Well, you and I know there's a lot of poverty for 2-3 years until it actually starts to work for you. Can you talk about that entrepreneur? You want to alleviate entrepreneur poverty, which really means you want to educate me before I get started. That's how I interpret that.
That's right. And for some people, it's 2-3 years. For others, sadly, it's 2-3 decades. It can go on into perpetuity. What entrepreneurial poverty is, and I've had the privilege of now interviewing tons of groups, Joe, around this. I ask people, when you started your business, what was the reasons to do it? And the top contenders are always financial freedom and personal freedom. I want to not worry about bills, and I want to be able to do what I want, when I want.
Yep.
And I say, okay, that's why you started your business. What's the reality? No financial freedom. These businesses are in debt and they're struggling. They're surviving check by check, and no personal freedom. The owner is working constantly. So there's this irony that our vision is totally the opposite of our reality. And that gap is what I call entrepreneurial poverty. The reality is most small businesses are there, but we also can't speak about it. Because if I go to my client and say, oh, I am struggling to make any money. I'm not profitable. I work all the time. Hey, do you want to be a client? A client would be like, no, and avoid us. So we have to put on this farce that we're good. Things are great. Things are fantastic. And then it's eating away us inside. So what I commit to doing, and actually it's on my wall right here, it says eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. This is my home office. Every space I work, I have that up as a reminder of my life's purpose is to close this gap. And for entrepreneurs to acknowledge where we stand today and the struggles we are facing, but then I am so diligent in providing every solution I can to get out of that and then make that vision of financial freedom and personal freedom a reality.
So we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about your latest book. I've got it sitting here, and I can't wait to kind of dig in. You see, I've got some notes. I want to ask you some questions about some of that. But I want to ask, before we go to break, what made you want to revise a book you had already written? I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've done 2 of my books, Clockwork that you're looking at in Profit First. How that comes about is my publisher, it's Penguin Books, my publisher comes to me and says, hey, there's so much demand for this. Is there a way to improve it? After a book's been in circulation for a year or 2, the feedback is wonderful because people are like, oh, here's where I'm struggling, here's where I'm not. So Clockwork is 60% new content. I call it 100% simplified. It's the same core structure, but I rejiggered the book to better support the roughly 100,000 businesses that already deployed it.
Yeah, because it was a much better read than the first time I read it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So,
well, thank you. That was my goal.
60% is a different book, right?
That's right.
I mean, a lot of times
it's a different book.
Yeah, people put out a revision and they'll change a couple things, and it's really just to boost sales. But for you to put this out and put so much work into it, that 60% is a different book is incredible.
Okay, Mike, we only got 30 seconds before we go to break. Can you guess which book is my favorite? Because I have read 8 books he's got here.
2, 4,
can you guess 8. Which one is my favorite?
If it ain't Profit First, it's going to be the Pumpkin Plan?
Yeah, you got me. Pumpkin Plan. You're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's just a phenomenal book. You did good on that. He crushed that, didn't he?
He did.
He crushed that.
He knows you.
Yeah. Let's take a break, buddy. We come back. We're going to talk some more, and we're going to actually dig into your revised book, my friend.
Thank you.
Say it, Ben. Say it.
Your business matters.
Yeah, we're talking with Mike Mikowitz. He is the master author of Small Business Entrepreneurs. We look forward to talking to him. We come right back.
We have the facts behind the headlines with the news you want to know.
News Talk WSIC.
Hey, Michael, we good?
We are good. This is great. Thank you.
Is there something you want me to talk about or bring up, or a question you want me to ask? I want to make sure I get that in for you.
Okay. Nothing. Well, I have a brand new book coming out this January called All In. So maybe I can mention it's about for leaders building teams, how leaders build teams for small business.
Okay. Ben's going to be your first person to read that. I can tell. His eyes popped up when you said that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. I called you Joe earlier because on the sub thing it says Joe. Sorry about that, Ben.
Oh no, that's fine. That's all right. They probably just keep Joe up there.
Yeah, I mean, because this whole show's about Joe.
Okay.
You understand?
Right? Yeah.
I got the lower thirds mixed up there.
Well, you know, we do the best we can, guys.
You're doing a good job. I still can't believe you were able to finagle that tech stuff. That was pretty amazing.
So All In, and then also the book giveaway. That's the other thing to bring up.
Right. Oh yeah, that's Relay
Right.
Bank,
Yep.
and it was okay. I'll mention the website for that bank.
Okay.
It's bank like Mike. Makes it real easy.
Well, Julie has dropped that
On Facebook.
that on Facebook already. So that link she has already dropped that on there.
Great. Okay.
But we'll have her do that again, and I hope she drops your website. Because she put, as a logo, she put the one book I didn't like of yours. I bet you can guess which one that one was.
Surge?
That's right. Yeah. I did not like that.
Why didn't you like that?
First of all, it wasn't Mike Mikowitz. I'm just going to tell you that right now, right?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you it just was not him.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't have the substance that the other ones have.
We all
Gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't an actionable book. I regret how I wrote that. I'm going to redo that one day, I think.
Without the USO,
Or burn it.
Or
burn it.
Or burn it. Yeah, I do have a fire pit. So
Learn more today at uso.org.
Okay. Well, on Facebook, Julie said, "Leave Mike alone. Don't be picking on him."
Americans
Sorry, Mike. That's what we do, buddy. We pick on people.
I'll take
Sorry.
And
it. I love it. I love it.
has led to
I
the
think I'm part
worst
of the
drug
gang.
crisis in
That's right,
American
that's right.
history. That's why the CDC recommends safer alternatives like physical therapy to manage pain. Physical therapists treat pain through movement, hands-on care, and patient education. No warning labels required. When it comes to your health, you have a choice. Choose physical
10 seconds,
therapy.
guys.
Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a
lifetime.
physical therapist in your area.
And we are back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. This is the #1 talk business show in all of North Carolina. Let me prove it to you. Doing this 10 years strong. We have interviewed well over 800 small business owners and community leaders, and today is no exception. Take a look at this book. It is written by a phenomenal writer. I guess I get to say my favorite author. I get to do that. Mike Mikowitz.
Hey, that feels good, Joe.
Mike Mikowitz, you are my favorite author. I've officially made that decision today.
You're my favorite radio host. Like, this is amazing.
Thank you so much, buddy, for being here. I really do appreciate it. So you talk about this book. You say about 60% of it's different. I could tell that when I reread this, right? It felt like a completely different book, and you kind of wanted to throw something at me when I said it was better than the first. But I think it's because there was so much more detail.
Yeah, well, because there were so many practical applications. As I was sharing, as we cut to break, there's over 100,000 businesses that had deployed Clockwork. So I was able to go to case studies and see where people were getting stuck. Mm-hmm. One of the interesting things was with the first book, I didn't have sections for the employees on how to make the company efficient, just the leader. And the feedback was, how do I get my employees engaged? And one person actually said, I'm afraid to show them this book because they'll know my secrets. I'm like, that was never the intent. Mm-hmm. So the new book, as one example, every chapter has a section specifically for employees to use the system.
Let's just get right to the heart of this, okay? Let me get right to the heart of this book. Are you crazy? Yeah. When do you think I'm going to have 4 weeks to take off for a vacation? Are you out of your mind? Talk about that.
Yeah, and that's the response I want people to give me, because if you feel Joe, that if anyone feels they can't take 4 weeks off from their business, that means the business is dependent upon them, and that's an at-risk business. What we have to distinguish is there is working in the business, an operator, and then there's owning a business. I'll give you an example. When I travel, admittedly, I stop by McDonald's a little too often, but I started a routine, and I invite you guys to do the same. I'll ask the cashier if I can speak with the owner. Not in one instance. I've done this now over 60 times. Not in one instance has the owner ever been there. The person in that glorified closet they call an office is the store manager. But the owner doesn't mean they're sitting on the beach drinking Mai Tais, maybe, but they're more likely doing strategic decision making. They're meeting with corporate. They're finding new locations. That's where true design and strategy happens. So if our business needs us flipping burgers, cooking fries, or rushing around like the manager, we aren't acting like an owner. So the last thing I want to share is, No, you're good. I was going to thank you for that advice, because I ended up selling a business recently because one of the partners was so entrenched in the mindset of the owners had to be in the business all the time. And through reading your books and listening to you and things like that, I've taken the approach of, I don't want to be a keystone in one of my companies. I'm going to delegate, set employees up to do the right things like that. And that different mindset between myself and a partner was a real issue. So I had to just sell and get out. But it's because of exactly what you just said, of the approach I was taking to being a business leader. If I don't want to be the owner that's in the middle of a company. That's a great realization, Ben, and a bold choice. I hope it's serving you. But to your point, there is a distinguishing difference between an owner-operator and a owner-shareholder. And what I want to invite entrepreneurs to do is become shareholders. Now, a little context, and I'll tell you how to do it. Only 3% of the population ever starts a business and is able to maintain it sustainably for over 5 years. That means 3% of the world is creating all jobs for the other 97%.
Yeah.
Kindergarten, I had 30 students. That means one student started a business and maintains it successfully, and all the other students are looking for good jobs. So the job of an entrepreneur is to be a creator of jobs. That's something we got to remember. An entrepreneur doesn't do the job. The entrepreneur creates the job for people who want to work with good companies. Now, the other thing, the little technique I want to share is, and this is a little bit hard, even though it's simple, is start calling yourself a shareholder of a business to everybody, because it triggers an identity shift. So next time someone comes to you and says, "Hey, Ben, what do?" You say, "Oh, I'm a shareholder of a small business." "Hey, Joe, what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a shareholder in a radio show." When we say we're a shareholder, that person will say, "What do you mean?" And then we talk about shareholder values. Our job is to give strategic direction. Just like if you own stock in Ford, you vote for the board and you give strategic direction on, should we build this new building and campus and so forth. And you share in profitability. And that's what shareholders do. Direction and profitability. And as a small business owner, if we start calling ourselves a shareholder, we may start acting like that. And if we do, we are serving the business optimally.
So let's, we don't have a lot of time, so you don't have to get into the details, right? But because I want everybody to buy this book, by the way.
And I'm going to, you're right, Joe, I'm probably going to be the first one to buy this.
That's right. That's right. So can you talk quickly about the Big Bang and then about the Big Promise? Because those two things to me are like the core. Once you get those, you kind of get the book.
Yeah. The Big Bang is an interpretation of Jim Collins' BHAG, which stands for Big Hairy Audacious Goal. I modified it because I found for small business owners, we need a couple other elements. The big stands for big, but bang, B stands for beautiful, A stands for audacious, N stands for noble goal. The beautiful and noble parts are critical. When we have purpose, if we know why we're doing what we're doing, we become unstoppable. So for example, my big bang is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. This is what I do. And that gets me up in the morning, gets me excited to get to work. The Big Promise is the customer facing side. So my customers maybe don't care that I'm eradicating entrepreneurial poverty, but what they do care is I'm simplifying entrepreneurship. So the Big Promise is what you serve your customers most with. My books, my work is to simplify entrepreneurship. And if we distinguish those two things, we'll have a reason to come to work excited, and we'll have a core differentiator to keep offering our clientele.
So one more thing, and then I want to talk about your next project that you're getting ready to do. But you talk about the queen bee role. You talk about that in several of your books. Describe exactly what that is, because I'll be honest with you, this one is tricky for me, right? I struggle with this, right? So talk a little bit about that.
So hyperfast, I use a technique called biomimicry. You look at nature, and nature has solved problems over billions of years. Take those ideas, translate them to a business or personal application. In beehives, the queen bee produces eggs. Now, I'm not saying the queen bee is most important, but the role of producing eggs is what keeps the hive alive. So we need to identify in our business, what is the core role? It could be served by one individual, but as a business grows, often it's served by many individuals. Now, the interesting thing in a beehive is the queen bee, if she fails to produce eggs, she's removed from the hive and a new queen is spawned. In our business, we have to know that core competency, the equivalent of laying eggs, and then defend it at all costs and ensure that the best people, the best resources are allocated to it. If you excel at your queen bee role, your QBR, your business inherently excels.
And thank you so much. There's so much I want to talk about this book. We just don't have time to do it. The delegating and designing of the business, it's just, and deciding, that's such a great chapter in the book, and we just don't have time to dig into it because I want to talk about some. I want to say this. Buy this book. It is phenomenal. Julie's going to put a link onto the book right now. You add the first 10 people that go to this link can get this book for free. Mike Mikowitz, he is by far my favorite author, period. It's official. I made it official. Please buy this. Clockwork, for those of you listening live on the radio. So Mike, before we go, because we only got a couple of minutes, buddy, what is the next project that you're working on? Because we are ready for the next book.
We are.
Yeah. I just put the manuscript in for the final submission to my publisher. The book is called All In, How Great Leaders Build Unstoppable Teams. What I've done over the last, I want to say it's 6, maybe now it's 7 years, is study how do great teams come about, especially in small business, and dominate the competition. And I share all these techniques and strategies that are outside the box, stuff you probably never heard before. And I do want to share one just to give people a head start. The book comes out in January, but you can pre-order it now if you want. So All In, How Great Leaders Build Unstoppable Teams. And here's the technique, is instead of doing traditional interviews, which actually have a very low success rate in getting qualified people, run a workshop. Home Depot does this, and no one knows. Next time you see a Home Depot Come Build Your Birdhouse event where you go with your child or some children and you'll see parents and stuff working away, Home Depot is using that as a recruiting platform. They have a couple Home Depot employees there. They're guiding you through the process. Of course, they ingratiate you with the store. They want you to buy stuff, but they will tap you on the shoulder. If you're demonstrating interest and thirst for doing this work, they'll say, hey, you're so into this. You're helping other parents. Would you want to work at Home Depot? We can do the same thing. We can set up experiences, which are actually recruiting platforms for the most interested and thirsty individuals.
So, Mike, thank you so much. We've only got a minute. If you're on the book right now, I just dropped up his website. You can check that out. Julia has put All In on the website. She's also put the first 10 people get a free book. Mike, thank you. What is the final thing you'd like to say to small business people that are listening, Mike?
I've been saying small business is the backbone of the economy, and I ran the data, and it's not true. Small business is not the backbone of the economy. Small business is the economy. Every single business that exists today started as a small business. All those big businesses started out of a garage, or it was an idea that was invested in, but they started small. So I'm just wishing every entrepreneur success, because you are the economy.
Mike Mikowitz, he is the finest, my favorite author. Thank you, Mike Mikowitz. I appreciate it, buddy, for being on the show, buddy. We got to do this again.
Thanks, Mike.
We do. Thanks, guys.
If it's Friday morning, your business matters. We'll see you next week.
WSIC, Statesville, Lake Norman, North Charlotte.